Kakadosh Boker Or. Bekiim Bahalacha, day 42. We are starting Siman Nun Aleph, the Hilchot of Baruch Sheamar. It says in Halacha number 1, we're going to start Baruch Sheamar with the Pesukei de Zimra with Baruch Sheamar, and we close it with Yishtabach. So that we already learned already, correct? Fine. Halacha number 2. Each person should say the Bracha Baruch Sheamar with a pleasant melody, which means that you're singing it. And look at the beautiful words and the content that you have. And according to the Sefer Hechalot, the blessing consists of 87 words, corresponding to the words Paz, fine gold. This is alluded to the Pasuk in Rosh Hoket and Paz, right, which means the beginning part, the head, has 87 words. Right? The Hebrew word for head can also mean the beginning, right? Like Rosh, Rishon, right? So he says, and so this verse is telling us that we are to begin Hashem's praises with Paz. Moreover, this pasuk also alludes to the promise that if someone regularly recites the blessing of Baruch Sheamar in a pleasant tune, and while paying attention to the meaning of its words, Hashem will give him a golden crown. And that's what I told you guys about the entire concept of the crown, right, of singing of Baruch Sheamar and the Pesukei de Zimra. Says 149 at the bottom, Sefer Hagan, cited in the Kaf HaChaim Sofer. The Tur stated that one ought to chant the blessing of it with a pleasant tune slowly and while concentrating on the meaning of each word. The Seder Yom likewise gave these instructions, adding that we should also stand up while reciting it because of its status. So we stand up and we sing it. The Noheg Katzon Yosef also noted the famous incident recorded in the Or Zarua. This is what I told you guys. Remember yesterday about the Or Zarua? That when someone who passed away appeared in the synagogue Bidul in a dream, and he appeared to the Gabai in a dream and told him that he was awarded handsomely because he always used to sing Pesukei de Zimra in a pleasant tune. The Rav Chida, right, he comes and he writes, the Sefer called Baruch Sheamar was composed by Rabbi Shimshon ben Eliezer. The author was orphaned from both of his parents when he was only 8 years old, and he began the practice of chanting the blessing of Baruch Sheamar in a pleasant tune. The adult members of his nicknamed him the Baruch Sheamar because of this, and that's why he wrote a Sefer called Baruch Sheamar. The Yafel Lev instructed people to chant both Baruch Sheamar and Mizmor LeTodah in a pleasant tune, as will be explained below in Halacha 51. He specified that this was the regular practice of the author of Avodat Matzah in the Al-Ghazi congregation of Smyrna. Okay, so makes sense? So one more time, you're supposed to stand up, you're supposed to sing it. That's what we have a tune for it, you know? We don't just say it, Shabbat and all these things. We sing. It's always, right? It's always the same. So he says now, moreover, this pasuk alludes to the promise that if someone regularly says the Baruch Sheamar in a pleasant tune, and while paying attention to the meaning of its words, that Baruch will give him golden crown, as we already mentioned. Says the wonderful praise, page 130. The wonderful praise of Baruch Sheamar was instituted by Shekinah Segula after they discovered the text of the note that fell from the sky. Anyone who bothers to pay attention to even the simple meaning of the text will be highly inspired. We mortal beings are fortunate to have the opportunity to recite such an exalted blessing. Meaning, we are people that, look, we have the zechut to bless HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is very, very important. Okay? Fine. That was Halacha number 2. Halacha number 3. Okay? The text of the 87 words of Baruch Sheamar is never changed. Whether on weekdays, Shabbat, Yom Tov, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, it is never altered or augmented in any way. Each word contains deep meanings, Kabbalistic secrets, and we dare not disturb their effects in heaven by the text. Let's see what this refers to. This is the ruling of the Pri Chadash, 150 on the bottom. Okay, the Yad Aaron, the Rav Chida, right, the Pitz Chaim, based on Pitz Chaim, Rav Chida. If someone finds himself in a cookie that says differently, he should still say the genuine text himself. Okay, so now the truth is, again, I already told you, our minhag goes according to the Rambam and Rabbi David Budaham, which all other tefillot are based upon them, and therefore, if the Rambam said this Baruch Sheamar, I have no problem saying this Baruch Sheamar. And same thing with Rabbi David Budaham. It's about the Rishonim. Huh? Yeah, the long one. We do. The majority of things we do go. Do you know that even in many places in Morocco, they used to say, in the Kaddish, they used to do בעלמא דברי חילותי וימליך מלכותי ויצמח פורקנה ויבקץ משיחה וישכלה לחלב ויפרוק עמה. They used to do it longer, and it's in the Tefillat HaChodesh. Tefillat HaChodesh. And until today, in Gibraltar, they do that Kaddish for Shabbat morning. Only Shabbat morning. But they do it. Meaning that you do see that there were certain times where they did a longer Kaddish. Remember, even the Lashon of the Rambam, a lot of the things go according to the Rambam. So we go according to those nuschaot. That was our nusach, and that's what you continue. Right? We're not going to change everything. Right? So that's what's many signs. So now it says like this, a prelude to Baruch Sheamar. The Kaf HaChaim Sofer declared that the poskim listed above disagree with the practice recorded by Rabbeinu David Budaham and repeated by the Knesset Gedulah of adding Baruch HaMelechim L'Olam Yisrael B'Yom Shabbat Kodesh, Baruch HaMelechim Yisrael, and all the different things. Despite this, the custom in many communities, notably those of Iraqi Jews, is to recite these preludes. Right? You have to tell, what's his name, yeah? right? Along with the verse of Ki gavar aleinu chasto v'emet Hashem l'olam liyah. It could be that this freely is not considered an alteration of the text. It is only a separate text that recites as previous to Baruch Sheamar, while the 87 words of Baruch Sheamar are left intact. The poskim who warned not to recite these lines were apparently referring to the communities who actually substituted the lines of Baruch Sheamar v'Yaolam with one of the other lines. There was also a custom among many communities in North Africa to insert this freely in the middle of the blessing just before Baruch Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. This is probably the custom of Rabbi Raham, and therefore the later poskim complains that this is an incorrect practice. They would not have complained if the prelude was recited before beginning the actual blessing of Baruch Sheamar. The Nagid Tzaveh noted that the initial letters of the words of Baruch Sheamar v'Yaolam is spells b'shaveh, equal, teaching that both the mortals on earth and the angels in heaven are blessing equally. He added that this is the reason why the text will not be changed on Shabbat Yom Tov. According to the Satan, those who recite this prelude should have in mind that it is only a preface to the blessing of Baruch Sheamar and not part of the actual beracha. Again, I don't know why he doesn't bring down a Rambam, but it's a Rambam Mefurash also. Okay? Fine. He only brings down Rabbi David Raham, but it's a Rabbi Raham and also a Rambam. Fine. Next, Halacha Daled. At the time you begin the saying Baruch Sheamar, you're going to hold the two tzitziot in the front corners of your talit, and when you complete the blessing, you kiss them and you let go of them. So 151, 152, 151. These are instructions of Shara Kavanot. Tzitzit, like the blessing Baruch Sheamar, is connected to the supernatural world, the supernal world of Yetzirah. Because we changed. Remember, once we after right to the Korbanot, we went up, right? Okay. Next, these are the instructions of the Ben Ish Chai, the Mishnah Berurah, and the Kisush Rukansfried. This practice is not mentioned in Shara Kavanot or in the Magen Avraham, however. So that means to come and to hold the two tzitziot is actually brought down, but the kissing of it and letting go is not brought down in Shara Kavanot.
It means that the tzitzit are Yetzirah and the...
Okay, so therefore, even though the Shara Kavanot brought down that you should pick up the two tzitziot because they're connected to the Yetzirah, so the tzitzit is Yetzirah and Baruch Sheamar is Yetzirah, but he says to do with kissing it and putting it down, that's not brought down. But it is brought down everywhere else, okay? The Shnei Luchot HaBrit testify that devout people will kiss any mitzvah, meaning it's a chefetz of mitzvah, so you kiss it, that they handle in order to display their love for mitzvot. It is logical based on this that say that since we hold the tzitziot while we're reciting them, so we kiss them before letting go to demonstrate that we love them. And that's what makes sense also, correct? It only makes sense. Listen, if you're already picking it up, you're not just going to throw it down. So you kiss it, and then you put it down. Yeah, you understand? Well, that makes sense. You know, some people, they come and they start kissing everything. Like they do, 100 times, they do like this or that, all these different things. So you have that. Doesn't matter. He says one next halacha. Number 5. Yeah? Halacha number 5. The correct text is befei amon, not befi amon. The numerical value of the word of befei is 87. There are 87 words in Baruch Sheamar. Also, the correct text includes the word batishbachot with a chidik, right? And not batushbachot with a shuruk or kubutz. Okay? So that's going to be halacha number 5. Halacha number 6. The custom is to stand up when we're reciting Baruch Sheamar, but this is not an absolute obligation. If someone is old or feeble and it's difficult for him to stand up, he's permitted to say sitting down when he's saying Baruch Sheamar. Okay? All of a sudden, everyone becomes old. You understand? I'm telling you, it's incredible. I've seen people in Chazarat Hashatz, they're sitting down. They're like, Iowa, you're an old guy.
It means when you're train the plane?
Yes, yes. Even the Amidah, you could do it in the plane sitting down.
Most of people.
So he says over here, so the custom was to stand up, but obviously if somebody is sick or old or whatever it is, he could sit down. In the last halakha, the two blessings, Baruch Sheamar and Yishabach, may be recited only before Amidah Shachrit. If someone skipped out all of these things, and then he wants to, because he wanted to catch up to the Amidah or Chazarat Hashatz, obviously, and then he has to say Pesukei even after Shachrit, he missed out on the brachot. That means he can't say anymore Baruch Sheamar and Yishabach, because Baruch Sheamar and Yishabach was only instituted before Shachrit. So let's say he came late, and he would have to start Yotzed Or whatever it is, and he does a mamash, he has no time whatsoever, he's very, and he's going to jump to Yotzed Or in order to catch the Chazarat Hashatz. Right, but remember, if you, it's not to catch the Amidah, it's Chazarat Hashatz. Right, because if you could still get the Chazarat Hashatz, you're not supposed to skip. Okay, so he says, so therefore in such a case, you already lost out the brachot. But he must not recite the blessings afterwards. The blessings will be for the preparation for the Amidah, not afterwards. Number 153, this is the ruling of the Torah Gaon, as brought down and said that Rav Gaon, and repeated by the other Rishonim. Rabbi Yonah also brings down that the blessing will be recited after Shachrit. The Shulchan Aruch says no. The majority of the Rishonim say no. And the answer is no. Have a wonderful day.